안녕하세요. Riding on the Korean wave. Welcome to a brand new week on The Culture Wave. I'm Kwon So-ah in Seoul. Explore with us Korea's culture from all aspects and stay up to date with K-entertainment with a special focus on K-pop today, K-travel, K-everything. Joining me today in the studio is our co-host Walter Lee. Hello, Walter.
Hello, Soa, and hello to our viewers at home. Happy Monday. My name's Walter Lee, here to co-host alongside Soa and give you your daily dose of K-entertainment news.
And Walter, we are going to kick off the new week with the latest developments in the world of K-entertainment.
Excellent.
And we're starting off with some news on KPop Demon Hunters.
Yes, we are indeed. So Billboard US announced on Sunday local time in its chart preview article that the original soundtrack for Netflix's animated film KPop Demon Hunters has reached #1 on the Billboard 200 for the first time. Now, this achievement makes it the K-pop Demon Hunters soundtrack, the K-pop Demon Hunters soundtrack and its singles chart-topping success on both the Billboard 200 and the Hot 100 respectively. So the album initially debuted on #8 on the Billboard 200 and spent a total of 7 weeks in the #2 position spot before finally climbing to the top this week. Now, meanwhile, in the UK, the official charts reported on Friday local time that Golden has secured the #1 spot on the official singles chart for the top 100 for the 6th consecutive overall week.
Wow, what is left for the soundtrack to achieve?
Yes.
And Walter, now we're going to move on to one of the most talked about movies lately,
Yes.
No Other Choice or 어쩔 수가 없다 by director Park Chan-wook.
Yes, we have been talking about this weekly as well. And before we were talking about the Venice Awards, but now we're talking about the TIFF or Toronto International Film Festival. Director Park Chan-wook's latest film, The No Other Choice, has made a very great achievement indeed. It's actually won the International People's Choice Award at Toronto International Film Festival. The film received the honor at the festival, which wrapped up on Sunday local time. Now, introduced for the first time this year, the award recognizes the most popular international film, excluding those from Canada and the US. Now, it's based on audience votes. Now, No Other Choice was featured as a gala presentation at the festival. Now, as for when you can see the movie here in Korea, Park's No Other Choice is set to hit domestic theaters on September 24th.
Congratulations to Park and everyone involved in the movie. Can't wait for maybe some other awards to come up.
I think so.
But now, Walter, let's talk about special donations made from 2 Stray Kids members.
Yes, quite interestingly, because they have such a close birthday together, Han from Stray Kids, who celebrated his birthday on Sunday, has donated 100 million won, just over $70,000 to Samsung Medical Center. Half of the donation will be used to support medical and caregiving costs for critically ill adult patients, while the other half will go towards treatment expenses for children and adolescents.
And who's the other member?
The other member is my Korean-Australian brother Felix, whose birthday is actually today, Monday, and he has donated a total of 200 million won, just over $140,000, of which 100 million won will also go to Samsung Medical Center, and 50 million won each will go to UNICEF as well as World Vision. Now, the contributions will support pediatric and adolescent patients at Samsung Medical Center, nutrition and clean water projects in Laos through the UNICEF, and family care programs for children through World Vision.
So thank you to those donations and happy birthday, we should say.
Yes, we should say that.
And thank you very much, Walter, to you, and stick around.
Will do.
Now let's head over to our AI anchor, Ari, for more on the culture front. Ari?
Hello and welcome to your AI guide to the latest cultural updates from Korea. Here's our top story. The 2025 World Heritage Festival opened in Gyeongju, the host city of the upcoming APEC Economic Leaders Meeting, with a spectacular drone show last Friday. The festival will showcase a variety of cultural heritage programs across Gyeongju, highlighting the cultural value of the city's 1,000-year history. Programs will take place at major heritage sites, including UNESCO-listed Bruguksa Temple and Seokguram Grotto, offering visitors unique cultural experiences that blend past and present. Selected participants will be allowed rare access inside Seokguram or to walk across Bruguksa Temple's famous Cheongwon-gyo and Baekgwon-gyo bridges. The World Heritage Festival runs through October 3rd and will also be held in Jeju, Suncheon, and Gyeongchang this year. Conservators specializing in Asian paintings from some of the world's leading museums and art galleries have gathered in Korea. They took part in a conservation workshop hosted by the Overseas Korean Cultural Heritage Foundation to learn Korean techniques in art conservation and restoration. First held in Italy in 2017, the workshop is part of efforts to preserve and restore Korean cultural heritage located overseas. Participants emphasized the importance of financial support for such initiatives, while expressing hopes that more resources and information on Korean cultural heritage will be made available in their home countries. A vibrant celebration of African fashion was held at Seoul's Dongdaemun Design Plaza last Saturday, drawing around 2,000 spectators to the outdoor venue. The fashion show, named Power, Roots of Resilience, featured South African brand Makosa and Nigerian brand Hertumba, alongside Korean hanbok brands Dana and Kim Minju, creating a striking blend of African and Korean fashion. The fashion show was part of the annual Seoul Africa Festival, which celebrates the rich diversity of African cultures. That's all from me. Stay tuned to the Culture Wave.
While daytime highs in Korea are still hovering in the high 20s to low 30s, it's getting much cooler in the evenings. Looking for a special experience during those cooler nights? Gyeongbokgung Palace here in the capital Seoul has begun its autumn night tours this month, offering visitors the chance to indulge in the serene sights of the royal grounds after sunset. Our culture correspondent Park Geon-woo shows us around.
When the sun sets and darkness falls, time travel to the Joseon Dynasty begins. Limited guests, including many foreigners, line up for this special night adventure. From babies in strollers to older people with cameras, visitors of all ages show delight on their faces. Many slip into hanbok, immersing themselves in the royal nightscape.
The first time for me in this dress, beautiful, absolutely amazing because of these lights and you know the atmosphere. It's great to come here during the day, but of course this night is absolutely special.
The Gyeongwon Pavilion, once a royal banqueting hall, is the place that many photo takers look forward to the most, as the ripples spreading softly around the pond attract much attention. Visitors are flocking to Gyeongwon Pavilion, the highlight of this night tour, all trying to capture the pavilion's reflection in the pond. Only 3,000 visitors are admitted each night, with 300 extra tickets for foreigners. And if you're in hanbok, you can enjoy all of this for free, a true highlight of the night. It truly served as a perfect photo spot, keeping visitors strolling around it until closing hours. Another spotlight was a performance by the Korean Traditional Music Orchestra of the Blind, an ensemble whose history even traces back to King Sejong. Their emotional lyrics and lively rhythms deeply moved the audience.
I'm so proud to show my family traditional Korean music. The weather's also just perfect to enjoy it.
I know a little bit of the language, but not totally what they're talking about. But watching, I almost started to get some teary-eyed. Even though they're blind, I'm sure they have like other superpowers, just like singing.
With more foreigners visiting during the night, officials say the surge is clear.
Interest is surging, fueled by K-pop and recently K-pop Demon Hunters. More foreigners, especially the younger generation, wish to experience traditional Korean architecture themselves. Around one-third of visitors are from overseas, from even Europe and Africa.
She said that thanks to those visitors, last year 6.4 million people visited the palace, and already this year, over 4.2 million have come. Expectations are for the figure to reach at least 7 million this year, the most ever. And you'll be able to add to that as this special night tour under the glowing moonlight continues until September 28th. Park Geon-woo, Arirang News.
What do brave girls roll in, EXID's Up and Down, Rain's Gang, and Day 6's Meltdown have in common? They are all K-pop songs that have succeeded in Yeokjuhaeng, which literally would translate into driving in reverse or wrong way driving, meaning they gained sudden recognition and popularity at an unexpected time years after their release, and in many cases after a comparatively unsuccessful past. Let's talk about this interesting phenomenon with Claire Marie Lim, music technologist, artist, and faculty member at Berklee College of Music. Hello, Claire.
Welcome back, Claire.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for joining us. So Claire, how and roughly when did this Yeokjuhaeng syndrome start, and has it become more common recently?
Yeah, so the term Yeokjuhaeng rose to prominence in the Korean music industry around the 2010s, and an example of a well-known case of Yeokjuhaeng would be Rollin' by Brave Girls, like we mentioned, which I love as a song, and it came out originally in 2017, but it regained popularity in 2021 after it went viral. But the phenomenon itself of previously released songs regaining popularity has also existed before in other music cultures, and we sometimes refer to it as a song that's called a sleeper hit, especially like we noted, if the song becomes way more successful upon resurgence and it outweighs its initial success. So with regards to becoming more common recently in Korea, I believe what's new in recent years is how digital platforms amplify these songs. So with avenues like TikTok and YouTube, a previously released song is no longer tied to its original release window. So it could really blow up due to social media trends, or maybe an old song being featured on a TV show, or just general listeners rediscovering it and spreading it around. So I do think that Yeokjuhaeng has become much more prominent in the past decade, especially mainly because listeners can so actively contribute to recirculating these songs.
Right, and you just mentioned an example, Rollin', but let's look at some other interesting examples then more in detail. So Day 6 these days are no doubt a well-known K-pop band, but their success also has a lot to do with their Yeokjuhaeng experience. Tell us more.
Yeah, absolutely. Day 6 is a great example. So they are indeed, well known already, but their songs didn't always dominate the charts during their initial releases. As an example, though, their track "You Were Beautiful" from 2017 gained a lot of traction in 2020 through social media, and that was already several years after it was initially released. But it ended up charting on the Melon charts at spot number 52. And then it charted again in 2023 and 2024, also within the top 100. So Day 6's recognition through Yeokjuhaeng not only boosted their general popularity as a K-pop band, but also introduced their music to a whole new audience who may not have known of them earlier on. And that helped to propel them even further. So I think it's really a great success story that shows how Yeokjuhaeng syndrome can shape a band's career trajectory.
It does.
Yes, I mean, there are many cases of, when it comes to social media, a lot of old songs coming back to the forefront. I mean, Kim Jong-kook had a trend going around for quite some time as well. And a number of K-pop songs' late success is attributed to, obviously, video streaming, social media platforms. I know that EXID's Up and Down. Yeah, Honey had a very big part to do with that, right? I remember that her video of her dancing to that went viral, therefore it kind of went back into the loop. Please give us some examples of that and how these media platforms play a role in this reverse trend.
Yeah, absolutely. So to start off, like we talked about earlier, Rollin' by Brave Girls, that blew up after a video went viral of an audience of very enthusiastic soldiers cheering for one of their performances. And as another example, the song Gang by solo artist Rain was memed so heavily on social media that it kind of turned into its own cultural moment in 2020, which was years also after its original release. And just this year, maybe as a more recent example, the song Thank You by Yunho, that was originally released in 2021, but it gained some renewed attention when lots of fan videos and reaction videos were created. And that was following the re-upload of an old performance video by KBS. So in all of these cases, video streaming and social media platforms have basically propelled all of this attention and allowed this organic fan-driven content to breathe new life into songs. So the community really does play such a big role in, reversed trends.
And I really do think that it's going to continue. We're still going to see a lot of songs that we heard back in the past, maybe first generation, second generation, come back to the forefront and then become trends or somewhat, be present on social media. But what's quite interesting is that there are even songs before we were even born, 70s, 80s, they're gaining popularity again. Why are we seeing it these days? And as well, also interestingly, the younger generation are often, being the most dominant on social media, leading the charge in this wave of popularity. So how come they are attracted to these songs, do you think?
Yeah, it might seem kind of bizarre at first, but, like you mentioned, it's really happening thanks to social media, and the youth are great at using that in the first place. And a lot of the formats that are related to that are also very nostalgia driven too. So for example, audition programs and reality shows that are competitions, those often feature classic songs that are used as contestants to showcase their talents, right? And even TV dramas that are set in earlier decades bring back songs that were originally released in those time periods. And as an example of something that's made a resurgence, you might even get a contemporary K-pop group covering an old song. So, for example, the K-pop group NCT Dream released the song Candy in 2022, but that was actually a cover of the song Candy that was originally released by the first generation K-pop boy band HOT. And that was all the way back in 1996. So it's kind of hard to pinpoint an exact reason why these songs are gaining so much popularity with the younger folks, but I think it's for the reasons of social media itself being so prevalent. But also going back to the songs themselves, I think a lot of these returning songs have such good emotional storytelling and melodies to begin with, and they still feel so universal today. So I think they truly do stand the test of time.
And Claire, in many cases, these returning songs, it's a very big surprise for the singers themselves sometimes. But then, similar to the Yeokjuhaeng phenomenon, they are also so-called seasonal songs. So we already expect those songs to make it big again during a specific time period. And for instance, quickly just mentioning a pop artist example, Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You. So that's also happening in Korea. For instance, with Changbomjun Cherry Blossom ending. So tell us about these seasonal trends.
Yeah, for sure. Cherry Blossom Ending is a great example. You might even be able to get a sense of it from the title, but it does become very popular every spring. So it's kind of a returning season song for the spring season. And later on in the year, during summer, maybe another example that we could pull on is Red Velvet's song Red Flavor, which is a really energetic, upbeat dance track, and it tends to reappear as well as a summer song. So we could really say that songs like these are tied to the collective memory of listeners, I would say. They have a very strong association with specific times of the year, just based on their lyrical content or their overall music production. So they really almost function like soundtracks to the seasons, and that's probably why they keep appearing.
And from the perspective of the music itself, I would like to know, do you see anything common among Yeokjuhaeng songs? Or are they just good songs? They were initially good songs, but they were just not lucky enough when they released, and then just happened later on, the popularity. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've been thinking about this a lot too, and having surveyed many Yeokjuhaeng songs, I do think that many of them do have a timeless quality to them in terms of production. So they are very well crafted to begin with, and in that case, we could argue that they already have had the right ingredients for success. However, they might have honestly just lacked the right timing or adequate exposure to become successful upon their initial release. And sometimes it really just is a matter of luck. So, years later, having the right fan video or the right social media challenge or even a meme can really highlight qualities in a song that we initially overlooked when it was released. So I do think that a lot of Yeokjuhaeng songs that weren't initially that successful just needed another spotlight to truly shine.
I definitely agree with you there, because you can also transfer this sort of thing to movies as well. There's a lot of cases where movies are released and upon release they weren't so successful, and then later on they are maybe re-released, or they build up what's called a cult following, and then they become more and more popular as the years go by. So I think there are many, and it's just with all songs as well, where something is released but then doesn't get popular until maybe another artist makes a sort of single of it as well, and that second artist makes the song even more popular. So it's great to see that these songs do get recognized eventually. Now, lastly, would you agree that this unexpected late success gives singers or groups this sort of second chance, let's say? And do you think it's a good idea to capitalize on this sort of thing?
Yeah, so Yeokjuhaeng can definitely revive careers and help a lot of singers have a second chance. Thinking back to Brave Girls and Rollin', I've always been a really big fan of their music, but objectively speaking, Brave Girls as a group wasn't particularly popular compared to a lot of other very strong artists, especially in the late 2010s and the early 2020s. And a lot of people said, and they themselves also alluded to how they were close to disbanding before Rollin' went viral. So suddenly they became one of the hottest groups of 2021, and they were basically saved by the rise of Rollin' and its return to the charts. So I do think, though, that that kind of success still does come with pressure, and artists need to show that they're able to keep the interest of their fans with their new music without necessarily resting on their laurels. So they really need to act quickly in order to connect with their audiences, in order to avoid just being defined by their past releases or this sudden new sleeper hit that they have. So yeah, in summary, I think the Yeokjuhaeng song can be a second chance. It can also be a significant challenge for artists to build momentum, but hopefully it's a welcome challenge that a lot of artists will see as helping to create success in the long term.
Right, it probably is going to be very welcoming if they do see their hits suddenly going up the charts. And I kind of feel, as a fan of some specific K-pop groups, I have that responsibility to post, videos that could go viral and then help my stars, my K-pop stars, help with that Yeokjuhaeng trend again.
I should do it straight after the show.
Let's do so, Walter. And thank you so much for your insights today, Claire, and have a wonderful week, and talk to you next time.
Thank you very much, Claire.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
And thank you, Walter, as always. We're going to see you back here tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you for spending the past half an hour with us on the Culture Wave. Please join us again tomorrow on Tuesday at 2 p.m. Korea time, and maybe one day here in Korea.